And thanks for joining us on World Now. World leaders have begun pouring tribute for former President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, who has died at the age of 100. Letting tribute to his predecessor, Joe Biden described Carter as an extraordinary leader, statesman, and humanitarian who had saved lives and also, lifted people all across the globe. U.S. President Joe Biden said a state funeral will be held for the former president on January 9. We have details in this report. Have been pouring in from world leaders to Jimmy Carter, who served as the 39th U.S. president from 1977 until 1981. The former U.S. president died at the age of 100 on Sunday afternoon. Known for his humble beginning in Georgia, he championed the human rights at the center of U.S. foreign policy. Carter forged a still-standing peace treaty between Egypt and Israel. He also established the Department of Energy in 1977. President Joe Biden cited his decency, and King Charles III called him a committed public servant. And President-elect Donald Trump citing his hard work to make America a better place. In a post on X, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz says the world has lost a great mediator for peace in the Middle East and for human rights. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says Carter was motivated by his strong faith and values, and that he redefined the post-presidency with a remarkable commitment to social justice and human rights. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says Carter's leadership contributed significantly to international peace and security. French President Emmanuel Macron described him as a steadfast advocate for the rights of the most vulnerable, adding he has tirelessly fought for peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Carter is a leader who served during a time when Ukraine was not yet independent, yet his heart stood firmly with them in their ongoing fight for freedom. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also said his significant role in achieving the peace agreement between Egypt and Israel will remain etched in the annals of history. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau described Carter's legacy as one of compassion, kindness, empathy, and hard work. And the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says President Carter rose from humble beginnings to leave a remarkable legacy. Beyond being elected to the presidency or being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, Jimmy Carter's legacy is best measured in lives changed, saved, and uplifted. Shortly after his presidency, Carter and his wife established the Carter Center, which has monitored international elections and promoted public health across the world. His time in the White House was mixed with some success and fraught moments, especially in foreign policy. Carter did much to restore his reputation, working for peace, the environment, and human rights. And to discuss Carter's legacy, I'm joined via Zoom from Washington by diplomat in residence, School of International Service, American Uni, Elwin. It's good to have you join us on The World Now. But I'm hoping you can hear me. We've seen tributes pouring in for the former U.S. president, and so many world leaders have described his impact on global peace and also diplomacy as one we should be, reckoning with. But talk to us about Carter's legacy and how it will be remembered in the context of American presidential history, and what impact this will have on the current political landscape in the United States. Well, let's go on a very short break. We'll be back to continue this conversation with Elwin. Stay with us.
There is always more to a story than the scrimmage line. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
I'm Miriam Lunge. I'm a passionate environment advocate and a published author.
I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon.
I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
Thank you for staying with us on The World Now. Right before the break, we were talking about the former U.S. president who died at the age of 100, which world leaders have begun pouring tribute for. Leading tribute to his predecessor is Joe Biden, who has described Jimmy Carter as an extraordinary leader. And we still have with us the diplomat in residence, School of International Service, American Uni, Elwayne, joining us. Elwayne, thank you for staying with us. I was talking to you about the tributes that we have seen from major world leaders, but talk to us about Jimmy Carter's legacy and what his presidency stood for.
Well, I think he started many initiatives in his presidency, many new directions. But the important thing about Jimmy Carter was that he kept working at these from outside the presidency afterwards, trying to take them further. We saw this in his support for democracy around the world. We saw it in support for fighting health epidemics around the world. He didn't give up. He didn't stop. He was an early president, relatively early in age. He had a lot of time left, and we just marked his 100th birthday recently before he passed on. And up until just a few years ago, he was actively working around the world to support democracy, to support better health, to support better education through his foundation and with other individuals.
Right, and we also have joining with us the publisher, TVC News NG, Muyiwa Akintunde. Muyiwa, thank you for joining us on The World Now. Talk to us about Jimmy Carter's legacy and what you would say his presidency stood out for, especially in the context of American presidential history.
Okay, thank you so much for this. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, thank you for this opportunity, and it's an honor to pay tribute to the great man, Jimmy Carter himself, whose legacy will be difficult to wipe out in the face of the world. He was known for peace, and he was also known for, being very focused on public health. I had an encounter with him in 2003 at the Carter Center. I had the privilege of interviewing him one-on-one during a conference, a 5-day conference on Guinea women education in Africa. And he's done that. He's done a lot about peace, about democracy. I remember when Nigeria was going to start this new republic, the Fourth Republic in 1998-99, he was there to lead a delegation of election monitors, actively himself. He didn't just send a delegation, he led from the front. And he's been with us, particularly in Nigeria and Africa. That's why his Nobel laureate for peace was well earned. And he will be remembered for all of the good things that he's done to enhance the upliftment of humanity.
Mm. Right, and this question is for you, Elwayne. Is one president who, many may have acknowledged that after or post-presidency, he did not really have much intention to, interfere in elections and all of that after he left office. And he, to an extent, focused on humanitarian work. We have the Carter Center and also focused on his writing and also, enhancing democracy in major nations across the world. But what lessons can we learn from Carter's humanitarian work, and how is this likely to inform the major efforts that we are seeing on the progress on human rights and global health?
Well, I hope we can all learn that you can keep working on all of these major topics, whether you're in the office of presidency of the United States or afterwards or before. But he really kept working on what he saw as important topics, both in the United States and internationally. And he kept supporting those who were working for democracy in various places around the world. In the Americas, he was very busy in Haiti, I remember for sure. He came to Europe when I served in Europe, and I met with him there, and he was talking with the Europeans also about supporting peace, supporting the end of war, supporting economic growth in various countries. And he did this, I think, internationally, as we just heard from my colleague speaking about his work in Africa. He just kept working all around the world to support these themes. And he saw it as important for the United States, but he saw it as important for those who loved democracy, who wanted better government, who wanted better health for their people, and many other good things. And I think that's one of the key things to remember, is that we can all keep working for those good ends and really help achieve them and help build this consensus around the world. It's hard to maintain a consensus for international cooperation and international hard work on these issues that are so tough, so difficult. And so I think we can just be grateful that there are individuals like Jimmy Carter who worked so hard and kept working through so much of their lives to support all of these good endeavors, both at home and abroad around the world.
Mm. Right, Boywa, we've seen former presidents, we've seen George Bush, we've seen Clinton, we've seen Obama, and we've also seen the sitting president, Joe Biden, also, speaking well about the former U.S. president and his impact on American democracy. But when you look at the time he was the president and now, how much progress have you seen in terms of, their elections, the conduct of elections, humanitarian service, and also dedication to service, as many have praised him on?
All right. I wish we can have many more of Jimmy Carter, to continue the legacy that he set in terms of governance, in terms of public health, and all the other areas of his focus and his intervention. Yes, I agree with you that we've had a dip, and a very strong dip, serious dip, since he became inactive. But you can't continue for forever. I mean, he is the the oldest American ever living at 100, and even at 90, there was very little he could do. But I hope that with the kind of tributes that are coming genuinely from the heart, I mean, these are not orchestrated tributes, they are straight from the heart, about Jimmy Carter. I just hope that those who are listening, those who are in leadership now in different parts of the world, those who are orchestrating conflict, will realize that a time will come when it will be no longer strong. They will no longer be able to do all of the tough things that they are doing. And then they can begin to now look at, when I go, what legacy will I leave, what people say about me. So yes, there has been a dip in terms of peace around the world. We're still battling with the Ukraine-Russian crisis several years after. And I just hope that would take the opportunity of the passage of this great man, Jimmy Carter, to now reflect on what we owe the world. What we owe the world is peace. What we owe the world is tranquility, and to be able to take care of the vulnerable.
And still staying with you, Muyiwa. He's had significant interactions in the past with the former head of state, General Olusegun Obasanjo, when he visited, Nigeria. And many have regarded this death as the end of an era, the end of possibly dedication or absolute dedication to service. When you look at his approach on foreign policy, diplomacy, and international cooperation, and looking at the level of peace that we experience in the world currently, the Israel-Gaza war and other, disruptions that we see, would you say his approach is one we can still, learn from till now?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, it's very easy for us to come up with the headline, the end of an era. I mean, because we see that here is an icon, the recent of the world, who has just passed on. I would think that no other person will be able to fit into it. I'm glad you mentioned President Olusegun Obasanjo, for instance. He also has been known for going around the world for no other reason but to ensure that there is peace, there is harmony, democracy actually really stays strong. And there are so many other statesmen across the world who are that way. I mean, one man's way cannot be some other person's way. Of course, they can't do it like Mikata, but they would definitely there will be several other personalities will rise up to continue the good works that the likes of Jimmy Carter have done, because we need it. We need it. We need peace in the world. We need for us to be together, for us to be able to fulfill the purpose of our being here, for our leaders to be able to govern well and be able to give us people. Thank you.
Well, these are major issues that you have raised in terms of, leadership. But let's quickly take it back to Elwin because of our time. Elwin, very quickly, talk to us about Jimmy Carter's approach in terms of diplomacy, foreign policy, and how it can be applied to some of the disruptions that we are seeing in some countries today.
Well, I think it's important to remember that he was learning constantly during his first term of office. He didn't get reelected, and many people thought he would be forgotten. But what he did was kept applying what he learned to situations around the world and working through his center based in Georgia to help and support democracy and economic development and health development, particularly around the world. And he kept working with others. And I think it's very important, just as my colleague was just saying, that we find these individuals who are committed to helping the world and encourage them when they do work together to press forward and to press their colleagues who remain in power. Because when you're in power, you have many pressures on you from many different directions, and you have to deal with many things. But once you get out of power, you have the ability to work both domestically and internationally to support those good ends that you championed as a leader of your country. And I think that's really important that people do that. That Jimmy Carter did that was very important, that he had colleagues from Nigeria, from elsewhere around the world that he could work with, and that would help push in the same direction. Sometimes with some different opinions, but often with many areas that they agreed on, and that they agreed to push it in the same areas, in the same directions to help support peace and prosperity. And I think that's what we can look forward to. This was a gentleman who decided to do that.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your thoughts on the news. I've been speaking with the diplomat in residence School of International Service, American Uni, Elwin, and also Muyiwa Akin today, who is the publisher, TVC News Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on The World Now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Now let's quickly bring you back.